Cracks in brick, cracks in block, sticking windows or doors. Settling or sinking foundation, it's a fact. Foundation problems don't get better with time, but they do get better when you call APS.
This is the afternoon edition of the Daily Weather Briefing video. This is for Tuesday, September 27th. I'm James Spann. Alabama's weather could not be better, but of course the focus is Ian. Gulf of Mexico. Take a look at the big picture today. This is the water vapor satellite view, upper air. And again, you can see we have an upper ridge over the southwest United States and a downstream trough over the east. And that trough pushed the surface boundary through here yesterday, providing for just amazingly nice weather today. There's the visible satellite view. It's a cloudless sky and will obviously be dry through midweek. Down to the south, tropical rains are increasing across the state of Florida, the peninsula, mainly south of Interstate 4, where the rain is widespread in advance of Ian. You can see the eye of the hurricane southwest of Key West this afternoon. That's the radar composite about 2:45 this afternoon. But around here feels good. Everybody in the 70s over the northern half of the state. Got a few low 80s down south, but the humidity is low and it's awfully nice. We do note there is a red flag warning for the counties down in South Alabama in pink for tomorrow. That's because of the danger of fires. Because the humidity is so low, we'll have a fresh north breeze, and there's basically a high fire danger really statewide. And then, of course, Ian providing many warnings down across the Florida peninsula. Hurricane warnings, tropical storm warnings, storm surge warnings in effect there. And most of our tornado threat's going to be in Florida, the peninsula, for the next 3 days. With Ian, this is the severe weather outlook through tonight. The main concern, the chance of a few isolated tornadoes. This is tomorrow. Again, much of the peninsula with a chance of tornadoes. And then on day 3, which is Thursday, again, areas mainly south of Interstate 10 with a chance of a few isolated tornadoes and the spiral bands wrapping around Hurricane Ian. And obviously a lot of rain to deal with. Parts of Florida could receive in excess of 10 inches of rain, maybe 10 to 15 inches in spots. Where Alabama, the amount you see there, the numbers kind of taper off from west to east. And again, for our state, it's going to be a very tight cutoff. The western side might not see a drop of rain on Saturday. The eastern side will probably see some rain Saturday and Saturday night as Ian passes well to the east. Nothing severe, nothing heavy, but again, certainly a chance of some rain for East Alabama Saturday and Saturday night. So in the tropics, basically Ian's the only game. We've got that little disturbance out there in the middle of the Atlantic, but we do not expect that to be a problem. If it develops, it should be short-lived, no threat to land. So Ian is the focus. Check the very impressive visible satellite imagery of Ian today. Notice the well-defined eye. It came off the coast of Cuba this morning. The winds have increased now at 120 miles per hour. And that will likely continue to ramp up tonight as over the open water. At the moment, the upper air winds are favorable for strengthening. The water is awfully warm in advance of the system. Here's the latest forecast track from the National Hurricane Center. This is coming off their 2 p.m. Eastern Time package. I got a little better look at that as it comes into Florida, coming off our graphics machine here, and you can see that the latest forecast once again has been adjusted southward down the Florida west coast. The latest guidance suggesting that Ian will come in south of Tampa Bay. And if that's the case, that's going to eliminate the storm surge problem for Tampa Bay. Now, they'll still see horrible wind, flooding, a lot of issues here, but the storm surge is going to be along and south of the landfall point. But the latest guidance has this coming in as potentially a Category 3 near Bradenton tomorrow night. And again, the Hurricane Center has increased the forward speed a bit as it looks like the structure might stay intact. And then by Thursday morning, it's a Category 1 east of Tampa. And again, remember, as you look at these maps, the biggest storm surge, the bigger problems along and south of that track line. So places like Port Charlotte, Fort Myers, Sanibel, it's going to be a rough ride for them, no doubt about that. And understand that track might be adjusted again, but adjustments at this phase of the game are typically fairly, not by a wide margin. The modeling, pretty consistent. Most models bring it in south of Tampa Bay now, really down toward Port Charlotte. In terms of the wind velocity and guidance coming off the ATCF set, again, you can see this will likely peak tomorrow. Then the intensities come down once it moves inland. And, of course, also as it gets close to the coast, there's going to be some stronger winds aloft and some dry air. The dry air we are feeling will kind of get into the circulation of that, providing for some weakening. The higher storm surge now expected to be south of Tampa Bay. Obviously, with the track shifting down to the south, down toward Port Charlotte, the storm surge there, 8 to 12 feet. And remember the Panhandle, no big weather problems here. A little breezy, maybe some rain for Panama City and maybe Destin, but not that much rain. The big issue for the central Gulf Coast, Gulf Shores to Panama City, it's the danger of rip currents. And the rip current danger will be relatively high really for the rest of the week. So if you're going down there, expect double red flags. The weather not that bad, but the surf will be very rough. But conditions will be improving next week. So let's go through modeling. Model fans. This is the GFS, the 12Z run, valid tomorrow afternoon at 4. Again, troughing over the eastern states. And again, this is the GFS, 4 o'clock tomorrow. And you can see Ian getting awfully close to the coast of Florida south of Tampa Bay. So let's go to Thursday. And it does slow down. And again, this is going to prolong the wind and the rain and the storm surge problems for the Florida Peninsula. The bigger impact south of Interstate 4, the bigger storm surge problems south of Tampa Bay. But again, we'll have heavy rain, the chance of flooding, storm surge flooding, and also the chance of a few isolated tornadoes. So let's go to Friday. And again, you can see the remnant circulation of Ian is just south of Jacksonville. And again, for Alabama, we're dry. We're in great shape. Sunny days, clear, cool nights, gorgeous weather through Friday. And I really think most of the high school football games Friday night, even in East Alabama, will not have rain. Maybe around Dothan, the southeastern tip of the state, there could be some rain Friday night. But for most of the high school football stadiums, Friday night is looking fine at this point. Now, Saturday, the remnant circulation is coming up through central Georgia. And you can see that there's evidence there could be some rain Saturday for the eastern half of Alabama, east of I-65. And again, this could change again, but the way it looks now, there could be some rain for the Saturday races at Talladega, and there could be some rain for the Auburn-LSU game at Jordan-Hare Stadium Saturday evening. It could be over by then, but just plan on taking the rain gear. And again, nothing dangerous. The big rains will be along and east of the center, over toward the Carolinas. We're just kind of on the backwash side of this thing. But Saturday, kind of cloudy, kind of breezy, some rain possible for the eastern side of the state. And then by Sunday, everything's out for Alabama. Sunday looks like a dry day. Good day for the big race at Talladega. Highs for the weekend, mid-70s Saturday, mid to upper 70s on Sunday. And then Monday of next week, we're dry, and this is 1 week from today. This is Tuesday, the 4th of October. Still got broad troughing around, and again, a very dry air mass. We'll go out 10 days. This is Friday of next week, October 7th. Zonal flow, and again, the air still looks awfully dry. This is the rain for Birmingham coming off the GFS ensemble. The mean is about a ½ inch, the green line. And there's a chance. Birmingham is right on the edge of getting rain Saturday. It might rain in Trustful. It might not rain in Bessemer. It's that close. Some of you getting no rain at all. The better rains, obviously, on the eastern side of the state, especially toward the Georgia border. But other than Saturday, the pattern's really dry for a while. Temperatures nice, 70s through the weekend, through early next week. Lows mostly in the 50s. And again, many of the cooler spots are going to be in the 40s. And this is the latest 8 to 14-day guidance just in the house, October 5th through the 11th. Temperatures at that point could be a little above average. So again, if you're just joining us here, this is a look at Ian. This is the visible satellite imagery. And again, you can see that very well-defined eye, very well-organized, intensifying hurricane over the southeastern Gulf of Mexico. The eye is well to the west-southwest of Key West. And the latest track from the Hurricane Center brings it into the Florida coast south of Tampa Bay. And they might adjust it a little more to the south on the 4 o'clock update here coming up in about an hour. But it could be a major hurricane at the time of landfall, maybe a Category 3 around Bradenton, and then weakening, of course, inland. And once it gets near the coast, it will be slowing its forward progression. But the latest guidance has this coming into the coast near Bradenton tomorrow evening at 7 o'clock Eastern time with winds of 125 miles an hour. The biggest storm surge problem will be along and south of the landfall point. And if it comes in south of Tampa Bay, that really eliminates a storm surge problem for Tampa Bay. But understand, Tampa Bay is going to have tremendous amounts of wind and rain with a chance of flooding and a lot of power outages, obviously, in a situation like this. And again, from there, it's going to go on up and weaken and ultimately dissipate probably somewhere in the Carolinas by Sunday. And, of course, the central Gulf Coast, Alabama, we're on the good west side of the system. As we talked about for days and days and days, the main issue for that central Gulf Coast, the rip current danger. And that'll be setting up the stage for double red flags through the rest of this week. Hey, let's roll some Pepsi Kid Cam video today at Riverwood Classical School in Tuscaloosa. I had the whole school there in the group in the chapel. They were looking good today. And obviously on days like this, it's very interesting to talk about weather when you've got a lot of weather to talk about. With a hurricane in progress, it's always interesting. But we had a great time today. They were having goodies out there, and the kids, the teachers, they were absolutely fantastic. So again, to all the students out at Riverwood Classical School in Tuscaloosa, thanks for a fun visit earlier today. So if you are new here, I'm typically live simulcasting on YouTube and Facebook every day about 5:15 a.m., which I know is insanely early, but that's when I have to do them. And then in the afternoon, about 2:30, 2:45, we have notes on our blog, AlabamaWX.com, and we're straight shooters here. I know that we're in a strange world now where you've got the weather entertainers, and you'll see some outrageous stuff that's just not true. This might be boring stuff, but we shoot straight here. But notes on the blog, AlabamaWX.com. And we always invite you to watch us on TV this evening, ABC 3340 News at 4, 5, 6, and 10 o'clock. That's it. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening, and God bless.
Sagging, bouncing, or uneven floors? Call Alabama Professional Services. Standing water or high humidity? Call APS. Nasty odors or dangerous mold? Call APS. Critters, bugs, or other pests? That's right. Call APS. It's a fact. Crawl space problems don't get better with time, but they do get better when you call APS. Call Alabama Professional Services today.